has everything.
Big Boy's Neighborhood. All righty. We've been waiting on this one. Hey, man, Vic Mensa looking around like,
what's going on?
He was like, y'all woke up in this month.
Syncopated.
Oh, man, Vic, you do what you do.
Yes.
We do what we do. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
gonna make it do what it do, baby.
Yeah. Hello. I'm gonna make it do what it do, baby. We live, baby. Man, but no, Vic Mensa, welcome to the neighborhood, bro.
Thank you for having me, man.
And we've been waiting on this one.
Yes.
And not just waiting because we wanted to sit down with you, but then I also found out, you know, I don't know where you are in your life, but I found out there's a couple crushes in here too. I'm not gonna say anything. Just thank you for coming by and hanging out with us and doing the dang thing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And really this one right here, man. Just, yeah. But she works hard. You know what I'm saying? So she's not just in here hanging out. But please, if you get a chance, Vic, just look at her sometime. You know what I'm saying?
Look at her. She can't even look at you right now.
Acknowledge her.
What's up? How you doing? Good morning.
Hey, there you go.
If you feel a little fake wink coming in, you know, give her a fake wink.
I never learned to wink.
Oh, really though?
No, try.
You just,
no.
Just
I'm
come
gonna
on.
look kind of crazy.
Just try it.
Hey, but you know what it is too, though. You know what it is. Like once you get a little bit of superstardom and stuff, like anything you do is okay. Now, before the album start popping and before you start popping, you would have winked like that. We would have been like, man, look at this shit. You know. But now that we know Vic Mensa's like, hey, oh my God, he winked for the first time. But welcome to the neighborhood, man.
Thank you for having me, man.
And once again, man, new project for you. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because you're in a position now where you do have a catalog. And what I do ask people sometimes, Vic, man, when you do have a catalog and we do have a backstory and we do have a little bit of history, does it make it a little more difficult or easier when you get into the studio to record for us?
I think with this album, well, this was the easiest music for me to record because I kind of had come to a point in my life where there was a lot of like destructive things going on around me, like a rock star lifestyle that I was really feeding into. And I was not so much feeding into who I really am and like the place I come from lyrically.
Right.
And so with this album, I had cut all the drugs out of my life and just like recentered and refocused and decided to write an album called the Autobiography that's just really, really personal and about my stories and very vulnerable. So it was really the easiest for me because I was just telling the truth. I was just detailing my life.
But when you hear there's a lot going on, that almost in one song felt like an autobiography.
Yes.
That was from, like, when I made that song, it was in the process of writing this album. So I started this album that's, releasing on Friday.
Yes, sir.
I started this album February 2016. And There's a Lot Going On was a song that I made. Well, I already knew the concept of the album, and I was like, this is what I'm doing. I want to do There's a Lot Going On for right now so that I could kind of tell people where I've been and where I'm at.
Before you do something like that, when you peel off that many layers, are you skeptical at first? Like, do you hold back, or do you just say like is it therapeutic?
It's very therapeutic. Yeah. So for me, it's like the deeper that it goes, the easier it is for me, and the easier it gets, and the more I get from it, because it really is like my way of therapy. I had a line in a song off the album called Wings with Pharrell, and I said the beat is my therapist, skateboard paint the picture, So it was like that's what this whole album for me was, and the same as There's a Lot Going On.
You know what I enjoy also, man, and not that there's a resurgence or we swinging back, you know what I'm saying, but I'm enjoying that we hearing lyrics, and I'm enjoying that we don't get it the first time. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always something, Vic Mensa, but there's always where you gotta listen again, or you gotta like, okay, what did he mean by that? Or, you know what I'm saying? So I enjoy that there's that kind of craft that's being recognized once again. You know what I'm saying? Do you
100%.
Do you feel like you're in that same position, and not shade on anybody else, because there's always been certain parts of different fields in the genre anyway.
Word up.
But do you feel like we needed what you guys are kind of delivering right now too?
I think people need real music specifically right now. It's a lot of people hurting and going through things and struggling right now. I come from the south side of Chicago, and I mean, we all know south side of Chicago is a war zone. And, you got people dying from heroin all across the nation. I think a lot of people are going through real things, and they need real music that can speak to that. And there's always a place and time for party music.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And it always has been there. But I feel that hip hop, being the verbose form of communication it is, it has a duty at some point to speak to you. Like that's why I started rapping, was because Pac spoke to me, and Pac spoke to like my pain and my situations. Even though I'm only 11 years old, I'm like, like, I got suspended from school, man. I was a fool, you know, same way.
Hey man, do you feel where you are? Hello, do you feel where you are right now that? And I do hear when you speak about Homeplate or what's going on in the world, there's some people that say, you know what, man, I made it out. You know what I'm saying? And then they kind of detach themselves. Why did you attach yourself even more so to not just Homeplate, but that community and that voice and being somebody like an outlet? Why did you connect yourself more so?
Well, you know, I studied Malcolm X, you know,
sir.
and Huey Newton, and that Black Panther mentality was always, how you gonna speak to and speak for the people if you're not connected to the people, and you can't really communicate with them. So I feel like, as somebody with the knowledge, not everybody has a responsibility to be a political artist or to have a message or whatever. If that's not you, that's not you. But if you know better, then you do have a responsibility.
Yeah, you know better, you do better.
And I know, you know what I mean? If you know better, you got to do better. So that's why I feel like I got to be connected to my city. I got to be speaking for the people that don't have a voice, because my little homie might not ever come home. I'm sending him the lyrics for my album right now so he could read it.
Now, when you say at one point it was more of the rock star thing, because, you know, you kind of get a taste of something, Vic, and we kind of go far off. You know what I'm saying? And when you say I had a taste of it, it was like the rock star thing, and then you kind of shut yourself down. Is that also a connection where you say, you know what, like, did you feel like you was kind of getting away from your city or your people or that responsibility as well?
You know, I had a point in time when I'm about maybe 20 years old, 19 years old, and I'm touring in Europe, and I'm having the time of my life, and I'm doing too many drugs, and I felt like, you know, I don't have a responsibility to nobody. I'm just, I'm not a role model. I'm just doing me. And so I went down that path and kind of realized that I was wrong. You know, I do have a responsibility, because like you said, when you know better, you do better.
Yes, sir.
And so going down that path and kind of like feeding into trends and, you know, doing this swag, that, blah, blah, 808, boom. I'm like,
how old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm 24.
Oh, damn.
Fresh 24.
Besides the music, was there someone maybe in particular that helped you pull out of that drug scene?
Yes. My girlfriend.
Beautiful.
She's still your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Hello.
That's
Always
nice.
good to have a queen.
I was lucky enough, you know, to have somebody that was selfless enough to
And she probably seen a
look
lot, huh?
past the pain I caused her from a place of pain to help me get better. And honestly, that really inspired me not only to make this album, but to make it the way I did. And I wanted to speak about things like mental health and addiction and things that we don't really speak about that much in hip hop or in the Black community in particular, because I want people to be able to seek help and recognize they have a problem. Everybody's hurting, so they self-medicating with the dope, they self-medicating with the lean, the Percocets, and nobody's thinking about what they're trying to cover up. You know?
Do you feel like sometimes we as people, and I don't mean just as brown, but even just culture, whatever it is, that we shy away from recognizing? Like if we say, oh man, depression, like, no, I'm not depressed. Like, no, we get depressed. You know what I'm saying? Or like, yeah, like, oh, I don't have a habit. Or do you feel like we can't step up and say that sometimes?
It's so stigmatized, mental health, and people be like, I'm not crazy.
Right, yeah.
I'm not going to a therapist. I don't need to see a therapist. I'm not crazy.
Like,
honestly, we all crazy
in
our own ways.
I know it.
We all crazy. And, you know, it's not a bad thing to recognize that and know that everybody's different. And, you know, I want to uplift people. So that's why I'm vulnerable in my music and I speak about the things I do, because I want to give other people that maybe don't feel as if they have the courage to speak about it and speak out to find that within themselves.
How does all that come in 24 years? You know, it's because usually at 24, on top of the world. Like you had your moment when you was like, man, I was on my rock star-ish. You know what I'm saying? But at 24, to already pull yourself back and release these layers. And you know how you would say, man, I was 11 and Tupac. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, there's somebody that's looking at Vic Mensa. And as you strip all these layers off and you give us everything in the autobiography, somebody is looking at you the same way. Do you recognize that?
I do recognize that. And that's why I felt that in the making of this album, no song that didn't really speak to something very important in my life and in my story and in my experience could make the cut, you know? And sometimes the actual underlying message is a little bit more veiled, but every record that I included in this album is there because it serves a purpose and it tells a key to a real truth of my life and of my soul. And if I didn't do it like that, then I wouldn't feel right, because I know that it's kids listening that they really need something they could grow with. That's the way that I grew up listening to music. I learned a lot from Pop. I learned a lot from Common. I learned a lot from Hove, you know?
Speaking of Hove and Kanye, I sorry for asking this, but I have to, like, how does that make you feel, like, with them kind of like feuding right now, like not getting along necessarily?
I don't know. I wouldn't say they're feuding. I don't really know all the ins and outs, details of the situation, but I'm a huge fan and a friend to both. And honestly, it'll be all right. You know, I wish the best for that situation.
How does it feel to have somebody like JayZ co-sign you and just be behind you? I know he was out here in LA for the listening party. Like
JayZ don't show up to nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, go ahead, on.
How does that feel, like having somebody like JayZ like be behind you like that?
No, that was great because JayZ was a real part of the album and an executive producer on the album, and somebody that really helped me shape and mold my narrative into something cohesive and consistent. And so, him introducing me at that party was a really great way for me to come and play this album, because he was very much so a part of his creation.
Does he, when you record in the autobiography, does he listen to it? Like not every song, but is it at times where it's like 2 or 3 songs, or you know what I'm saying? Or do you just turn it in when it's done?
It was like 2 or 3 songs, 2 or 3 songs. I would have a couple more songs, then I'd go link up with him and play this for him.
Is there a pressure in that?
It was more excitement,
That's dope.
It was more so excitement because, I wouldn't play music I wasn't excited about.
I don't think this is ready for you. Nobody ever come up to you like, man, this is mediocre, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna go play him some amazing shit.
Yeah, hell yeah.
What's the best advice that he's giving you throughout making this album?
I think that Hove has been somebody to, tell me when to pull back. So maybe that's songs that I didn't need on the album and focusing on too much on one part of the story, or maybe that's calming down a little bit because I could be kind of aggressive towards
Oh, so this is like real recording. And you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, was there any time, Vic, where you like, nah, I think this one should stay like this?
Yeah.
And it was respected though.
It's funny. So there was a situation where I had a line that I said something that was kind of dissing somebody else. And it wasn't really necessary, and I just wanted it because it was a good bar.
Right. Did it stay on?
No, I took it off.
Okay.
And I didn't want to take it off at all. So, I played it for him, and he didn't really say to take it off at all. We was all having a conversation about it, me, him, and Dion, and everybody in the room. And then later on, he hit me thinking about it. He was like, man, I think you should take that off of there for this reason. And so I went and I tried, and I didn't like none of the alternatives. And I'm like, man, you know what? I'm going to keep that on there. And, he told me something that was a really good piece of advice for me to grow from. And he told me, do you, but what you're doing won't work out in your favor because your heart is not in it. The universe only works one way. And that made me think, because it was my man managed the kid and everything. And I was kind of, I was dissing another rapper really for no reason.
Wow.
And that really just kind of shifted my perspective on it. And I'm like, I don't need to be tearing down another young black man, regardless of if I like the music or not. It's like we have so much opposition outside of our community trying to eat off of us, and parasites just trying to feed off of our energy. And there's no need for us to be tearing each other down. We got to be more unified than that.
But you know what I do enjoy about it? That he sat on it, hit you up about it. You still played around the tennis with him. You know what I'm saying? Because it was you're like, nah. And then you do come around. Do you feel like he was right?
Yeah, I definitely feel like he was right. Because if I didn't do that, we'd probably be talking about me dissing this person right now.
Yeah, and then that's where to be at.
You know, I don't want to be doing that because I feel like my message and my purpose is so much bigger than dissing rappers. You know, like it's not really about rappers to me. It's about like, you know, real people.
Last, Vic Mensa. What does Mensa mean in Spanish, you guys?
Oh.
Don't do it to me.
It means dumb.
No.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like if you tell a
You
girl,
know,
like,
I just found
Stadion
that-
Mensa. You're so dumb.
You didn't know that though, right?
I grew up with a lot of Mexicans.
Right.
So I knew that.
Okay, so what is this, Vic Mensa?
Victor.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mensa.
Victor.
Yeah, I'm
Victor
West
Mensa.
African. I'm not Spanish in any way.
neither
So,
am I, brother.
It's like a
You
word
know,
up.
you probably looking at me like, man, Big, you probably looking like, Big, what you mixed with? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was to grow my shit out right now, you'd be like, man, look at that long ponytail that you done pulled off over there. Just lifestyle, man. Now, it takes a lot before we get to Vic Mensa and the autobiography. You know what I'm saying? You got to live. You got to crash the car. You got to hit some corners. What did you do before rap money came in? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does one support himself? How does one buy toilet paper to wipe his ass and everything?
I was just sleeping on couches, man. And, you know, just sleeping in the studio, making it happen however I could, honestly. I remember I was like really going through couches in my mom's house for quarters and shit. Like,
Really? Yeah. It's crazy what you can not leave in the couch now. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy when you do not arrive, when you're on your way still. And I know you're not even halfway where you want to be, but now you don't have to look for the quarters in the couch.
Right.
Did you have a job before music started to pay you?
I was mainly just hustling. I had a short job where I was like washing dishes at a deli, like scrubbing the chili pot. It would never stop sticking to the
Right.
to the
goodness.
pot.
And it's hot.
Because with the hot water, you gotta
How
boil
long
it.
did you work at the deli?
Man, maybe 2 months.
Was it always music? Like no plan B? It was always going to be music?
100%.
When did you know that?
I was like 15, and I had some of my older homies, Nez and Rio. They're producers. They're from Chicago. They've done a lot of Schoolboy Q stuff, like Man of the Year and records like that. And they told me, you know, they were like, "You're not going to college. You know, you're too nice." And so I just internalized that. I was 15 years old, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not
And too
going to
nice,
college.
meaning too nice art form.
Yeah.
Like, nah, man, you too, like,
Yeah,
man,
I mean, they just
college
saw
is
it
getting
because
away.
I was spazzing when I was like a kid,
Right.
and so they could just tell that I was gonna take this there.
Did your parents know about this? Because aren't your parents, or were they educators?
Yeah, they are. My father's a PhD. My mom works in public schools, and they, you know, they were kind of like hesitant a little bit, but also supportive. I was just kind of driven early, though. You know, it wasn't like I was ever for play. They could tell that I was really applying myself and dedicating myself, and before long, I had people like No ID flying out to come and speak to me when I was like 17.
Speaking of No ID, how was it like being in the studio and having him executive produce this album?
That dude put his shit on it. Too,
Legendary, like
No Idea is amazing. You know, it's an honor to work with him. I'm just a super fan because Common was my favorite rapper growing up.
Common.
One Day It'll All Make Sense and Resurrection, and these are all Dion. You know,
everything.
So when I was, you know, able to get the opportunity to be in the studio with him, there's so much to learn from him. He doesn't approach making music like most producers I've met. It's far more scientific. It's another level of information and observation he brings to it. Like he's really breaking it down from, you know, the smallest changes of tempo to changes of key to relative keys. I never heard of some of these things before I worked with him.
When you a fan first, what is it like when you actually in the studio with somebody like No ID?
just trying to learn, just really just trying to soak up the information, man. And he don't be wanting to tell me what he's doing because he don't want to give away his secrets. I feel him. I feel him. So I be looking over his shoulder I be like, no, I do. Man, show me how to
how you get that sound?
Yeah, I'm like, show me how to do that. He's like, no. I'm like,
No, straight
I'm
up.
looking over his shoulder. I'm like, by the time eventually I'm like, man, what you doing over here, man? Let me see.
Taking mental screenshots. Like,
I'm like, man, I'm finna sit here until I figure out what you doing with these samples.
Hey, man, but healthy relationship too, though, man. And dude he's a beast.
yes.
A beast.
You know what I'm saying? And what I love about No ID also, bro, is that you don't even know what dude is doing till it's done.
Word up.
You know what I'm saying? Like he don't speak about, oh, I'm in the lab, I'm in the kitchen, I'm in this. And what I love also, man, just what we got from catalog. And then what we see from JayZ, then what we see from Vic Mensa, and then also just what he's about to do, the position that he's in right now with capital and priority and the things that he's about to do to the world. It's about to be a new game with this cat, man. So
it's important too because No ID is one of those people that does this because he loves music, you know, and he wants to push the culture and push the envelope. I think a lot of people do this because they love money. They want to stay relevant. No ID is really still cooking beats like he's in the basement. Of the producers that I've worked with and met of, you know, that tier, he's one of the few that really is just driven by the love of music. Like Pharrell is the same way.
Yes, sir. What do you enjoy about being Vic Mensa?
I love my life, man.
I heard that.
You know, and I love being an artist and expressing myself and being able to you know, impact people the way that music impacted me when I was young. And some of the best feedback I ever get is just when I'm in the city or I'm on the south side and one of my little guys ride up on me like, I got you in the headphones right now, man. Don't stop speaking for us. You speaking for us. That's what makes me want to keep writing real things and speaking for real people.
Hey, man, and when you say speaking for us, and I don't want to lay on this too long or at all, really, but even with the way that you got to make sure that you not just protect the city, that you don't have nobody speak foul about the city. You don't have nobody speak foul about anything that's with your home plate. And I got to call it by name, the situation with you and DJ Akademiks. I felt like, and I don't know brother at all, you know what I'm saying? But I felt like when I saw a piece of that interview that you have to speak sometimes for those that don't speak for themselves. Either they can't or they won't or they're not in a position. And I thought that you handled that well.
So well.
Well, thank you, man. You know, the next day after that, my boy, Devontae, he hit me, man, like, thank you, man. Thank you for defending my brother, because that's his brother. I grew up with these kids, you know, since age 5. So I got his mother thanking me for defending just his memory, because I feel like I touched on this before, that there's so many people that want to pull and take from our culture. And when we're doing it from the inside and people are just trying to eat off of sensationalizing violence in Chicago and turning real deaths into clickbait, it has to be called by name and it has to be stopped, you know?
And you know one thing also, you never let up. You know what I'm saying? You got back into the interview, but at that moment you was like, no, I gotta say this. You know what I'm saying? I gotta say this. I'm not smiling. I'm not jumping out the seat at you unless you want it, but I gotta say this. And I thought that it was well spoken and it looked like it had to be well received too. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, people don't, I think that even though we're in a time when world star hip hop is people beating each other down and we're feeding off of all of this nonsense, at the end of the day, people recognize real and people recognize fake. And whether it's trendy or it's in for the moment, it doesn't live and it doesn't last. Only the truth will come to light.
Let me ask you this. Were you not going to say anything unless it was a rewind and it was brought to you? Because you was there just doing an interview.
I wasn't really sure. I mean, I was going to say something, but I was maybe going to wait.
Right.
And or something. I don't know.
You're like, right.
But he just,
well, here it is.
He was like, So how do you feel about me clowning you?
Right? Yeah. Here's a silver platter.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, damn, big boy
Big
neighborhood.
boy.
Hello.
You almost had
Vic
it.
Mensa
You're like this
in
close.
the neighborhood, man.
You'll get it.
Vic Mensa. My girl Letty shot this to me, man. She said that in the 7th grade. What were you arrested for?
What was I arrested for in 7th grade? Was it graffiti or stealing condoms?
Stealing
or something?
condoms.
Oh,
I heard that.
I love that you're
Bad.
using
Now,
protection.
is that real?
Yes.
So, were you stealing them for a friend?
No.
Hell no. Hello.
I don't understand why kids can't buy condoms. They can get pregnant, but you can't buy condoms.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Oh,
I'm like that you
crazy.
use
look at
protection.
the future mayor over here. I see where you're going with this. Yeah. So, man, how do they really arrest
Aw.
a 12-year-old for stealing condoms? You know what I'm saying?
To
Like,
be protected.
for one, you know, you shouldn't be doing that anyway when you're 12, especially now that I have kids. You know what I'm saying? But
Word up.
even at 12, you know,
Things happen.
I was unprotected. You know what I'm saying? But I would even be like, damn, do I hand this to the little homie? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, am I really tripping? Is he gonna go do it anyway? Like, were the authorities called, or was it more like, hey, get out of here?
No, I got arrested because I stole the condoms. The gas station people tried to stop me. They was like, get him.
Oh.
I hit him with the shh.
I hit him with the shoulders. You know,
Right.
like, on
I
with that.
shook him hard, got away, and then they like kind of jammed up my homies that were in the store with me. And then my homies called me like, they ain't gonna let us out unless you come back. I came back, then we all got arrested.
With the condom.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hey,
Guess so.
Now, what about old girl that you was stealing?
I didn't make it over
See
there.
what I'm saying?
Wow.
She's waiting the whole time.
I
Right?
would really be like, do you know
was
what
on
I
my
went through
way.
to get this?
Right.
Like, do you
I went to jail
understand?
for you not.
Hey, man, and what about, did you really run through Obama's yard after being chased by the police?
Yeah, man, I
That's
did. That was
dope.
funny. That was like the next year. That was before he was president, you know. But I was a graffiti writer when I was a kid.
Yes, sir.
So I would be out really late in the middle of the night, like painting rooftops. And Obama lives across the street from a synagogue, and there's always a police car just posted right there. And you know,
Right.
when you're a little kid and you are 4'6" or something, you don't want to be seen outside at 3 a.m.
Yes, sir.
So they hit the lights on me, and I didn't know that was Obama's house yet. But
Wow.
I'm climbing over the fence, and
Dope.
he didn't have Secret Service.
Oh,
yet.
no, not then. But how did you know? Because of course he was already into politics in Chicago, so you knew then, like, oh damn, I ran through Obama's yard.
No, I didn't know till years later when that whole block would be locked down because he has Secret Service at the front and the back. It probably still is. I'm sure it still is.
So this was
That's an awesome
after he
story.
became president.
No,
That's
this
when you
was
realized.
before
Oh,
he was
okay.
president. But after he was president is when I realized that was Obama's
You was
house.
like, damn, dude, that's the crib. I remember I told y'all I
You're
ran
like,
through
it
the
was
yard.
worth it.
You know what I'm saying? I heard somebody like, Michelle, bring my gun. Like,
Michelle,
yeah.
get my rifle.
Right. There's a black guy, a brother running through the yard, Michelle. But that's crazy.
I'm going to pop his ass.
Have you ever had a conversation with him or any of the first family?
No, I
Okay,
haven't.
so they don't know that. They probably know now.
One day you're
You-
gonna be able to tell them.
One
But
day
I'm-
I'll tell him.
And Obama got his finger on the post, though. You know what I'm saying? He got his finger on the post, so
So cool.
he gotta know something now. That,
Yeah, Obama looking real good right now.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't-
is. Living
I
his
didn't
life.
always agree with him in the past, but you know, he's definitely looking like a great guy right now.
Oh my gosh, man! And whatever the situation was where you didn't agree with him now, what do you think, Vic Mensa, about what we have what's in the White House now?
I think it's dangerous. It's toxic, and it's important that in the midst of all that we don't get jaded, we don't give up, and we keep like a perspective on reality and support each other. Like, since he's tearing down Muslims, then we gotta be supporting Muslims.
Build 'em
Since
up.
he's tearing down Mexicans, we have to be supporting Mexicans.
Build 'em up.
That's right.
And we gotta be more unified because all of this hatred is so divisive and it can only really hurt. It's not helping anybody.
Do you see, as you travel around the states and the world, do you see it be racism being a little more blatant now, where
I
people?
think a lot of racists are very emboldened right now and coming out of their shell, you know, coming out from under that rock they've been living in.
Yeah.
But it's not, I mean, you know, it's the devil is alive, man. At the end of the day, it's a lot of hurt people.
Yeah.
And they identify with Trump because he gives them an enemy. He points them in the right direction to express their frustrations. You got white people in middle America that their mortality rates are skyrocketing. They're dropping like flies off of heroin, and their jobs are gone. The plants closed. The automobile industry is done for. And they're like, what do we do? Who's to blame? Who are we going to blame? So, them? It's the Mexicans?
Gotta have a reason.
Okay. Then
Let's build this wall.
Right, build a wall.
Yeah,
maybe I'll get my job back. But they don't realize they're not getting their jobs back because technology is moving away and human beings aren't going to be making cars.
Right.
And he's lying to them. He's using them.
Man, so what are you, 2024? Is that when you run? Because we know Kanye going 2024. Kanye in the Rock going 2020. Hey, man, there's something in you that you haven't that you're discovering right now, bro.
I don't like politicians. I think
probably not even that though. But you know what? Whatever you about
Speaking
to
for the people.
probably be in your life, music is probably your gateway. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you got to yell and make noise before people take notice. You know what I'm saying? Like even like I always say with Magic Johnson, great basketball player. But what Magic Johnson does now as a human being and for the people, it outshines a lot of the basketball. So as I sit here and I speak to you, and I'm telling you, bro, I've known, you know, like I've been on the road with Pac, and you know what I'm saying? So I know when I see something where it's like, man, we got to take care of this cat. You know what I'm saying? Because you're speaking for so many people, Vic, and you recognize it at an early age that you're speaking for a lot of people when you're supposed to be out there kind of not giving a fuck and just it's about you. You know what I'm saying? Like real walkie-talkie.
It's so true. And like with Rage, I love Rage. Like literally, like speaking of Pac, like I love to listen to lyrics. Like I pay close attention. And when I was listening to that song, like you put so much in there that I literally had to like re-listen at least like 3 times. And every time I re-listen, I'm like, yo, he's saying some deep shit on here and like some very important things that have to be said. And just like Pac, like I love to listen to him because he's saying things that matter, that relate, that are real, that like people can really like touch and feel, you know. And it's like other people are like rapping about things that don't really matter and like wasting what I feel is precious time, where as we have somebody like you that I think is so refreshing that you are talking about things that matter, that we need to hear.
And people think like, oh, okay, what, like with suicide, you know, that's so off. Like, no, people think about that. Yeah,
a
people,
lot.
you know what I'm saying? And people at concerts or at a show or at home or feeling lonely. You know what I'm saying? So when you do get someone that music takes you away and music does something for you, maybe I can't speak to somebody, but I can listen to a song.
That song, yo,
that can turn somebody around or at least get you thinking. You know what I'm saying? So just taking that pen and being able, and I know you probably don't write with a pen, but you know what I'm saying? But just taking that pen and being able to have that kind of reflection is a major responsibility that you stepped up to.
I feel like at this point, art is the job of art is to disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. And you know, we've got a lot of people in both spaces right now. A lot of people are comfortable with saying nothing, with making empty music, and then a lot of people and those people too are also hurting, like I said before. And I can't stress enough how much I think it's important to erase the shame and the stigma around mental health and addiction, because you got the pharmaceutical companies that are still pressing up Percocets and it's #1 song on the radio, and people are dying of it all at the same time. So I feel like my perspective is that I've seen what that can do to people, and I've seen what drugs and prescription drugs have done to me. And if I was to just not speak about it in a real way, in an honest way, and just, you know, fall into the trend, I would feel like I'm self-destructive and I'm destroying my people. Because at the end of the day, I really feel connected to and for the people. And for the community and for the culture. So I want to see us doing well, you know?
Yes, sir.
I don't want to see my boys like off 6 Xans running up in the crib shooting somebody. But it's a real situation. And that's something that I want to be able to, if I can, help to stop that from happening next time by having the conversation with you personally, or having the conversation in the music that makes you have the conversation with yourself, then that's my duty.
Vic, I wanna ask you something and see if you recognize this right here, man.
Oh, well, why Chainz post that, man?
Yeah. I love this, man. So Chainz put this up?
Yeah, man.
So is this
Who does
really,
that? He posted my fake ID from high school.
Is this really your fake ID?
Yes.
Hey, man, let me tell you.
Bad.
Now, how old are you on here?
I guess I was like 18.
You definitely not 21. And it's crazy because everybody that do a fake ID is always an out-of-state ID. My fake ID was Chicago. Yours is Wisconsin.
Well, you know the story behind that.
What is it?
The story is that I had an ID that my boy gave to me in high school when I was like 16, and it was a Puerto Rican cat named Yayo. I think that gave it to me, and the ID was Victor LeBoy was the name, but it was like this 4'11" Puerto Rican guy, and he didn't look like me at all. So when that didn't work out anymore, and somebody took it from me, I went to one of those special fake ID people, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stick with the name
with Victor LeBoy.
Your boy LeBoy.
Your boy.
So there's someone out there. So was the name on the other ID? It was Victor LeBoy. So somewhere out there.
No. It was Hector LeBoy.
Hector LeBoy. So now you're Victor.
So now I'm Victor LeBoy.
Where is the ID now? Can you imagine what that's worth today?
I think I know where it is, man. I think it's in my mom's house.
Dude, what did you do as
so
Victor
funny.
LeBoy? Why did you need that fake ID, Victor LeBoy?
I was just trying to buy alcohol, man. You know,
Did it
that's
work
all.
very often?
Yeah, I think it always worked. It scanned too.
Oh, nice.
And because with that one, oh damn, they scanned.
It scanned and
Oh, it's way
everything.
better.
That was
Technology.
legit. Yes,
It
those
was
are the ones I get
official.
here in
It's way better
HP.
technology now.
Yeah.
Did it work past the police? You ever got pulled over with it?
No, I didn't. go to the
Yeah. That'd
police.
be cancel Christmas right there. Yeah,
They might have found it in my wallet one time. Actually, I don't even know.
Victor LeBoy.
Victor LeBoy, your boy LeBoy.
Man.
Little boy.
Hey man, I love you, and you know what's the trip about that too, Vic, is that it shows people life before we get a chance to know exactly what's going down. Like we know, okay, well shit, I did that, he did that. It humanizes the situations.
One story that I want to hear about is the day that you snuck into Lollapalooza.
Oh
Like,
Lord,
what
did you
happened
wake up
that
with
day?
superpowers? No.
Yeah.
My girl thinks that it still messes up my electronics. That's why my phone don't ever work.
Oh my goodness.
But basically, there was this Spanish foreign exchange student. I was madly in love with her. I'm like 17, and I took her to the south side. She was staying with my homegirl on the north side. She had Lollapalooza tickets, so I took her to the south side. We went by my crib, and I was taking her back to Lollapalooza, and I told her, go in, I'm gonna meet you at Buckingham Fountain in 20 minutes. I ain't have tickets, but I had snuck in the day before, and it was so easy that I'm like, I'll see you there. You know, I got this. I ain't tripping. So I sent her in there, and then they had doubled up, tripled up security. They got, you know, all types of reinforcements and ramifications. And
You're like,
what happened?
I'm like,
it's different on this.
I'm like, this ain't that easy no more.
Is Beyonce performing tonight?
Yeah, they caught on for real. So, and then, you know, my mind start racing and going to a crazy place. I'm thinking like,
Gotta get this
you know,
girl.
she doesn't even have a phone on her. She can't really speak English. I'm like, man, this girl's about to be lost in Chicago. It's about to be my fault. I'm gonna be looking for her all
You're like,
night.
I got these stolen rubbers in my
Right.
pocket again.
It's all about to be my fault, and I was kind of in a trippy place mentally because when I took her back to the side, I had just found out that my homie Rusto, rest in peace, had drowned. So you know that kind of influenced my mentality to act a fool. I tried to climb off of a bridge and down like a metal structure that holds the wires for the train, and I touched the wrong thing. I touched the transformer.
Oh,
It
Wait, you
went
have a-
in my arm, 15,000 volts of electricity, and then blew out my elbow.
Oh!
Let me see this.
Damn.
She's all laughing over here.
Shit.
It blew out my elbow. It was just a hole in my elbow. There was no blood.
Can I touch it?
What?
There was no blood because it was
touching it.
Hey,
electricity.
Vic, I'm thinking now I know
That's
the
crazy.
electrical shit going through you is a lot. But I'm thinking like, oh, he just got, you know,
Damn.
I'm not thinking
Yeah,
that
I
I'm
was
about
thinking
to
like
see this.
Now, then I fell about 30 feet
Oh my
onto the
God.
train tracks. And, you know, I was so dazed and kind of in shock. I still thought I was about to sneak in. There's people up on the bridge like, you want us to call the police? Are you okay?
You're like,
I'm like, yo, chill out. You blowing my spot up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, whole time I can't move my arm.
You get up, you
my
pick your arm
Right.
up.
I pick my arm up, put it over my back.
Like, man, back, let me in here. Damn. So it went in and blew out the back?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What?
Dude, that
and
is
that's
one
on
hell
your
of a
left
story.
side, bro. That's your heart. That's,
so
everything.
That's why I tatted "Still Alive" on my stomach, because
You
know,
ain't
I know
never lying.
I know from that experience that I really felt and feel as if I'm here for a purpose, because that's 15,000 volts. You can step on the third rail with 3,000 volts and you be fried like Ramo.
Hey man,
Damn,
did you
dude.
feel anything at Fried Like Rainbow? Hello, Beach Street. Y'all didn't catch that. Now, did you feel anything crazy after that?
I was in the hospital for 3 nights. And
Oh, so you never got into Lollapalooza either?
no, that didn't happen. Well, I actually got arrested right after that
Oh my gosh, what a day.
for trespassing.
Jesus Christ!
Sucks.
Can I
Have
catch
you-
a break?
Have you gotten a chance to perform at Lala yet?
Yeah, I performed Lala a couple times.
Did you tell that
Did you
story?
go in the
Like,
right
look.
way, or did you try to go back
Right.
under or climb over? I
I
would
went
have
in
been
the
on
right
stage.
way every year after
Okay, I
that. I
would've
don't
been
think
on
I
stage
ever
like-
snuck in again.
Hell no!
You're like, I'm
That's
through,
a
I'm
hell of
good.
tuition into the school of
Oh my
experience.
I stopped climbing things a lot after that.
Crazy, man.
Go
Like,
with it.
really, Vic? That's death, homie.
That is.
Like, that's death. Like, people die with less
Far
going
less.
through
Yeah,
them.
man.
Far less. The doctor told my father I was lucky to be alive. So we went to Africa shortly after that, and he did the libations and the prayers and spoke to the ancestors for me, man. So ever since then, I kind of had a different kind of energy in me,
Hell yeah. Hey,
That's
man.
dope. So many good
it's
stories.
definitely purpose. Man, because that's supposed to knock you out. For one, the electricity was supposed to kill you.
Right.
Right.
Then the fall was supposed to kill
break
you.
some.
And then the police was supposed to kill you. So you know what I'm saying? Like not supposed to, but you got to pick
You know
which
what
one.
they be doing.
Yeah. Like, I think I'd rather die by this electrocution because I know what y'all do.
Big boy.
Here we go.
Let's do
3,
it first.
2, 1. Big Boy's
Big
Neighborhood.
Boy.
All right.
It don't even make no sense.
I got
I
it.
don't know.
it.
Just do it.
No, he didn't get it. Don't give it to him.
That
You gotta
timing
go.
don't barely make sense. I
Right.
thought y'all said it with him. He
Oh, no,
says
he
it
says
first.
it first.
And then they said after.
Yeah.
All right, let's try it one more
All
time.
right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Big Boy's
Big
Neighborhood.
Boy.
No, see you a
I'm too
lead
early.
singer. Yeah, no, you know what it is. you a lead singer. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how it is to play background. You know what I'm saying? like you in this whole solo artist thing. You know what I'm saying? I need you to come back, man. I need you to get on some save money type of thing. You know,
I got you.
come back to me. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Big Boy's
Big
Neighborhood.
Boy. Wow.
There it is, ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen. There
very
it is,
quick.
man.
You
All
got
right.
this.
Now you sure you want to continue rapping and everything, or you want to come and join us?
I like what I'm doing.
Okay.
All right. Maybe that may pan out for you. You know what I'm saying? That probably may work. Who had one for him?
I had a
Me.
really quick one, but Ide had one as well, so we'll go with Ide.
Go ahead, baby. All right, Ade.
Sorry. So on this album, you're working with Skateboard P, Pharrell. How is it working with him on Spread My Wings?
P is another one of those producers like No ID that really creates from a place of necessity and is excited about music and just authentic. And it was really a blessing to be able to be in the studio with him and make one of my favorite records with him. Skateboard P is one of the biggest influences to my sound and my style just as a person. I've been a skateboarder my whole life. So Pharrell was a person that made me feel confident about who I was and made me feel like it was cool to be a skateboarder in a black neighborhood
sir.
where nobody was skateboarding. And it was cool to be into rock and roll music and combine that with hip hop. That's a groundwork that Pharrell laid for me.
And kind of, is it safe to say like that's the introduction to Victor as well, as far as like letting us in and seeing certain things?
Working with Pharrell that day was definitely a moment when I kind of was able to speak certain thoughts I've been having that I had never been able to just vocalize in a conversation. And honestly, just the game he gave me really helped me to grow and finish this album. It was like I was going through problem after problem in Chicago. And when I had gotten in the studio with Pharrell that day, just then, I had found out that a dude I was supposed to be shooting a video with in Chicago, Jello, had robbed me of $30,000, and I put it up myself for the video because the label was taking long.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to get the video done, you know. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna just front the money until the label comes back around. And you know, we didn't end up shooting the video in Chicago, and he wouldn't give me my money back. And he said that it was all spent, and he started telling people, don't pick up when Vic and them call, and and if they ask you, don't tell them nothing. So you know, I'm like, you about to make me go to a place I don't really want to go.
Yeah, man.
And so I was on 10 and very upset, and I came in the studio with Pharrell, and I kind of just, you know, he could sense it. I kind of told him the situation, what was going on, and he told me something that was very valuable to me. He was like, you know, you lucky for 2 reasons. The first reason being that you don't have to be the one that looks people in the eye smiling and steals from them.
Right.
You don't have to be the person that's doing that to somebody else. And you also lucky because you can take this situation on the chin and move on. And then he played me the song where it's wings, spread my wings and fly. And it just kind of like, it made me want to just unload all of that energy, all of those negative energies, and just reflect in a way that I could let all of those things die inside me and fly on to something bigger and better.
Natalia.
I wanted to know, is there a tattoo that you have that you feel best represents who you are?
I like that Dare one.
Yeah, this is for my big bro. I have a song on the album called Heaven on Earth about him. I would say maybe the Save Money tattoo.
Nice. And what was your last tattoo?
What's my last tattoo, man? I'd be forgetting.
He don't even know. He over here.
Where are my tattoos?
He probably like, this tattoo that says tattoo is probably the one.
Was the south side on your neck like painful? That looked so painful.
I don't remember it being painful. I was in a strange place in my life though, to where like I was getting so many tattoos though, really, that I didn't feel the pain. I was like kind of desensitized to it. Now I get the tiniest tattoo on my foot or something. I'm like,
Is there any tattoo?
Just blow the weed in my face. Just blow it in my face.
Is there any tattoos that you regret?
No.
What was that?
I got some of the dopest tattoos though. It's like art to me.
Do you have another one planned?
Yes.
What is it going to be?
I'm thinking about getting a phoenix, like on my chest and with the fire and everything. So
That's crazy. I got that same one.
Word
Show
up.
her.
Nah, I'm just Can you imagine like, oh my God, great minds. Let me ask you this. What's the relationship with you and Chainz right now? Because everybody speak a relationship. What is it?
We grew up together, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, at the end of the day, that's my brother. That's always gonna be my brother. And we've been through a lot together and bumped heads and also
Like brothers do.
You know, and also put our heads together. So I think that's what it's like when you have a brother, just family and somebody that you've known forever. So we came up together. That's my man.
And is so the relationship, there is a relationship with you and Chainz.
I was with him not too long ago in Chicago, yeah.
And I understand that he's doing a lot for Chicago as well. Oh, yeah. Do you see y'all doing something down the road possibly together? Because paths are going to cross.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing some new music. And I think the game needs that.
Right.
That'd be amazing.
But first off, we got to make sure the autobiography. You know what I'm saying?
Word up.
Yeah, easy call right there, man. Well, thank you for coming into today.
Thank you guys for having me.
It's really a
man.
pleasure to have you in here, man.
It's my pleasure.
They've been waiting on you, too. I've been waiting, but... You know what I'm saying?
I'm really looking forward to this album.
When you was like, oh, yeah, my girl, they're like,
Damn, he's taking
are you sure? She was with me through the trenches. Oh!
Reconsider.
Yeah.
Read some litter.
Yeah, hello. Vic Mensa in the neighborhood, big boy neighborhood.